Be Yourself is an inspiring short documentary about following people following their dreams at different stages of life. There is an 8-year-old pianist who wants music to be his life, a college-age dancer who is at a crossroads, and is an older singer and percussionist with the well-established Portland band Pink Martini. Now, the very first thing that we can compare between both our documentary and the documentary Be Yourself is the very opening shot. Now, theirs begins with an inspirational quote. Ours also begins with the same sort of text beginning, except from we have chosen to do a dictionary definition of happiness. Their quote is obviously specifically chosen because it is more inspirational, and their documentary is about inspiring people to do what they love. So therefore, I think in similar ways they are able to connect and communicate with the audience what it is they are about to watch and what the product is going to be about, which is important for the introduction stages of the film. When looking at this younger boy, high five, obviously the older man, it can connote the idea that many different ages and races and cultures can be inspired. And so this is a similar kind of aspect to what we are trying to portray in our documentary, and the idea that everyone can be happy, whether you're old or young, or whether you're from a completely different country or different culture. Everyone understands the basic idea of happiness, and in their documentary, similarly, everyone understands what it is to have a dream and to be inspired by something that you've always wanted to do. And this can be connoted within this shot as well as. However, we connote this within a different type of style of shot, as we use screen thirds to portray all the different vox boxes that we did of the different people, showing the different ages and different cultures all at once, so that you could really see the wide range of people that the idea of happiness affects, and all the different subjective ideas that can come together, and the aspect that everyone has their own true happiness. A major difference that can be noticed between the two documentaries is that we have decided to place our title within the opening sequence of our documentary. This is because, again, we wanted to show all the different people that are included within our documentary, and also we felt that it was very fitting to put the title in at this point, and we also just wanted to include the title so that people would remember it. However, at this point it would be important to note that within the documentary Be Yourself, they actually mention the title Be Yourself quite a lot. So that kind of indicates that that is the title, although comparatively we wanted to make that a lot clearer, and I feel that that was the best way for us to do it, and so that the audience can clearly see that this is the title, whereas for Be Yourself, it's very much trying to figure it out by yourself, which can be quite difficult. Another key difference that can be noticed when comparing the two documentaries is that we have decided to continue the typewriter aspect of our documentary. This is because we felt that it was something different and something quite interesting, and still went with the idea that we wanted to keep informing our audience because they are looking to fulfill their thirst for knowledge. So we felt that typing out exactly what their jobs were and what it entailed, like a positive psychologist, as you can see on the screen, it would fulfill the audience need to know. Where when comparing this to the documentary Be Yourself, they actually just state the name and what like they state the name of the person and what it is they're aspiring to be or what it is they do in the corner of the screen, which is very typical of a documentary. So when comparing them together, we can say that we used more of a unique idea when introducing our interviewees compared to the documentary Be Yourself. One thing that is clearly different about the Be Yourself documentary is that they like to put across the idea that being inspired and having a dream is timeless. No matter what age you are always going to be wanting to do something more, wanting to be something better, or wanting to achieve your dream, whether it be a singer or just to, I don't know. And in a similar sort of way, we are saying that about happiness, is that, you know, you can achieve whatever you want to achieve to be happy. And so in that concept, our documentaries can be seen to be similar. However, in a way, we look at the idea of happiness that sometimes it's not always best to achieve that. It's not always best to achieve what you think is going to make you happy, or it's not always going to bring about the best sort of outcomes just because you really want to do it. So in that way, we do differ, and the two documentaries do show different sides, as we have more of a disequilibrium compared to the Be Yourself documentary, which is very upbeat and happy continuously all the way through, unlike our documentary, which uses Todorov's theory of equilibrium, disequilibrium, new equilibrium. When continuing to look at the type of interviewees that they have used people that are aspiring to do different things, which again sticks with their theme of trying to, again, inspire people and make people feel like they can do things and they can do everything that they want to do. When comparing this to our documentary, we have used very factually based and well knowledgeable people and interviewees, as they are professors at universities, so they have a degree in what they are talking about, and we have done this to appeal to our audience. And so it can be assumed that we may have an older target audience compared to the documentary Be Inspired, as they are conveying this idea that everything is going to be great, everything is going to be fine, and as long as you do what you love and you keep trying to achieve it. Whereas, again, we are showing the more realistic value that it's not always going to be how you expect it to be, and society can ruin that, and society does have a big effect on the way you live your life and what makes you happy. And again, we have shown this through the clips of what people would perceive happiness to be. Like, people would say that if you go to New York, which is a very expensive thing to do, then that would make you happy because, you know, if you have the money, you may as well use it. Whereas comparing this to the Be Inspired documentary, they're just saying if you do what you truly love and not really care what other people think, then you will be happy. You don't need to follow this capitalist society of money makes you happy, success makes you happy. So in that way, our concepts and what we are trying to tell the audience and communicate to the audience is very different, and it can show that our types of audience are also different. So our target audience are completely different ends of the spectrum, so to speak. When looking at this shot, you can see the girl is doing a dance move, which is something that she explains is that she loves to do. And with this combined with the background on the shot, which is a very kind of rundown area. It's got like office buildings, apartment blocks behind it, which can connote that she's doing what she loves, even though she may not have the right equipment or the best stage or the best lights or even people to even watch her. And this is a very similar thing that we show in our documentary, in the sense that simple things can make you happy. It doesn't have to be all the best. So as you can see in this photo, or this screenshot of our documentary, Chasing Happiness, the artist has only simply used a pencil and some cloth and just stuck it against a cardboard with some clips. And it kind of shows that to do what you love, you don't have to have the best things in life. You don't always have to have the most high quality stuff. Like, this kid has the best piano, or at least a high quality piano, yet he doesn't seem to be enjoying himself as much as the girl that was dancing. So it shows that, you know, they both connote this idea that it's not about what you have, it's about what you're doing. And sometimes what you're doing is just the only thing that can make you happy, and it's the only thing that keeps you going. And finally, this shot also connotes that from our documentary, as it just shows that simple things in life can make you happy. You don't. Another important comparison that should be made between our two documentaries is the lighting, or the way in which we shoot our interviewees. As you can see here, the background for the interviewee is black, and yet her face is very well lit. Even though it does have a shadow on it on one side, this can connote that she is looking up to something, she's looking to doing something, and she's inspired to do it, to follow her dream. And the dark side of her face can connote that it doesn't come easy, and it is hard, and she's been working very hard to get there. And this is also connoted by the dark background, that she's had kind of a long journey to get there, and again, it's not been the easiest of things. When comparing this to our interviewees, which you can see right here, they're very well lit, and it doesn't really, they're all the same, like lighting. It doesn't really connote what they're saying. And so that could have been something that we improved on when comparing these two documentaries, because when looking at the lighting and comparing it to what some of our interviewees are saying, they don't really match. As, for example, in this shot, she's very well lit, and she's got a light background, and you can clearly see her face and everything. And this connotes that, it can connote that she is saying something quite intense, when truly she is a happiness speaker, and she was actually saying something really inspiring. And so it probably would have been better to use a similar sort of lighting style as the documentary Be Yourself, as it would have come across a lot better to the audience and connoted a lot better story. During the ending sequence of this documentary, they show clips of the people, the three interviewees, doing what they love and being on stage or playing the piano and dancing. And as you can see, this man is bowing, so he is finishing his stage act. And this is the only time where they don't use any talking. For a lot of it, they use the interviewees' answers to their questions, and they use it as a voiceover for their montage clips, or they use the natural diegetic sound. And for this ending sequence, they actually use a score of just an applause, which can connote that they will that to the audience, that they will eventually reach what they aspire to do, and they will eventually do what it is they love to the best of their ability, which is completely different when comparing this to our documentary, as we finish with a voiceover, and we are giving them an inspiring speech, and kind of asking the audience rhetorical questions, which again highlights the difference in our target audience, as we are obviously questioning the audience and we're leaving them with this open-ended question instead of just applauding them like this documentary does with Be Yourself. Finally, they have ended how they began the documentary, which is very similar to what we have done in Chasing Happiness. They have ended again with the text screen, but this time they have chosen a different inspirational quote, which follows through with the message of the film and the documentary as a whole, as it says, "Go confidently in the direction of your dreams, live the life you've imagined." And this is the message that they've tried to promote through the whole production. They've tried to say that you should follow your dreams no matter what. And so therefore they have done similarly what we have done within our production, except for ours is more factually based, as I have said before, but we finish with a new definition of happiness which we have created throughout the documentary, we felt, with our audience, as it helps with the narrative of the new equilibrium.